And we're here.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well.
All right. We got Jess Ford. We got Vince. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Welcome, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. It's nice to meet you, Vince.
Nice to meet you. Dante told me you decided to join the team, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, let's do it. We're live and ready to roll.
Yeah,
Good.
I figured, if you're going to put stuff in the chat, we might as well just get your face and just transition you from right to left. And now you're here. So appreciate you. Welcome, audience, one and all. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Epic Lunch and Learn episode, I believe 39 is in the building. Episode 39 is kind of crazy. I wanted to start off by saying everyone's talking about affordability. I feel like that's kind of like the buzzword that's going on in real estate right now. And so it's kind of like a mythical creature. What does it mean? Is it possible to catch? All those types of things. And so I hope today we can, debunk some myths and also tell some truths and, and talk about some products that might help that situation. And, that's why I wanted to make sure we have a loan officer day. We got, 3 loan officers all here, and we can, just discuss and share our thoughts about the overall market and what's going on. We're currently in a government shutdown, so there are some delays as far as product goes. I was looking it up. I was like, what is really being affected with, the government shutdown? And it was USDA is frozen. What else? Reverse mortgages. Wasn't really sure why, but reverse mortgages are on hold.
It's because they're FHA, and FHA is slow right now. Well, they're not all FHA, but a lot of them are, and it's just slow right now.
But you can still obtain case numbers, right? Cavers is still open and all that stuff, right?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's just customer service more than anything. And then I think, actually we have a government employee that's half government employee and half loan officer. She even said that, they have essential workers in the government. So like some people have to work, they're just not being paid. But the first 5 business days, even after the shutdown on October 1st, they're still working. So hopefully this can get resolved and figured out and we can move on with a budget.
It will. It'll take a couple more. I think it'll go another week, to be honest.
Well, that'd be perfect because I actually did a monologue that will be out on Friday about the government shutdown. And that would be ideal. So perfect timing because I was worried about even doing that topic and broaching it. And I was like, do I want to do this? I'm starting to expand just what I talk about. And so I wanted to talk about that. And so on Friday, when hopefully people are on Epic Spotlight, the YouTube channel, you will see my monologue about the government shutdown.
Yeah, just make sure don't make your monologue as long as the shutdown.
No, mine will be 6 to 10 minutes max.
I know you had a weekend off, and you literally took the weekend off. It looked like you were in Michigan, huh?
I was in Michigan. I was at Silver Lake Beach. It was beautiful, and sitting there and watching mini me's go out there and jump in the water. And went to a wedding, and now I'm back. Trying to remember, what do I do for a living, and getting back into the pipeline. But shout out to the Wright family. They just closed today, just this morning. So congratulations to the Wright family. Really appreciate them. Great story of a mom and a daughter, working together, putting their funds together to buy a house. It was, something that they've been longing to do. They've been out there for a lot of buyers out there for over a year, looking and not really finding what they wanted. And, they were working with a loan officer before me who, probably, just in all honesty, gave up, like, man, I'm not going to keep running credits on you. I don't believe, And I came in fresh ideas, how to structure the deal where they would have enough money. And lo and behold, they closed without having to put any money down. So, just a great deal, great structuring of the deal. And that's what we do. That's what we do here.
So let's hit that. How they close with no money down?
Credits, man. Lender credits is a thing, and obviously, having a broker, gives you those lender credit opportunities along with seller credits.
Illinois or
Illinois.
right.
So
we had the higher tax prorations too.
Tax prorations, seller credits, and then lender credits. You add them all together, and you don't have to bring money to closing. So I mean,
Correct.
now I've had some success in Michigan too, Miss Jess out in Michigan. What do you see? Because that was kind of flowing into the storyline as far as affordability goes. What do you see about affordability in the state of Michigan?
So it's not as bad as some parts of the country, but it's not great. Like based on the average wages here, I am seeing a lot of people be priced out of their homes. But I'm also seeing a lot of people buy homes for the first time. But when it comes to affordability, what we know to qualify is not really what people can afford. And that is the piece that a lot of these buyers are missing. We do have a lot of opportunities for your DPAs, your down payment assistance. Pick and choose them carefully. They are not my favorite. But it's all a lot of it falls on a really good realtor as well, being able to negotiate for those seller credits and the concessions.
I agree. Sometimes realtors, in my experience, get nervous of asking for seller credits. They don't want to get in a situation where they'll, say no or maybe reject the offer. What do you think about that?
I have come across plenty. So I've been in the business for 15 years, which means I know a whole lot of realtors. Even if you're not in the business, we all know a whole lot of realtors. Um, there are 2, maybe 3 that I work with confidently. And I'm finding that a lot of the realtors, one thing that we're not realizing is that they are fighting against the COVID realtors. A lot of people sat at home on that 2-week course and gave their $300 and became realtors. And they're all out there marketing. They had time to think it through. They're getting their names out there, but they haven't been through enough scenarios to really know what they're doing. So they are scared to negotiate. I have a lot of realtors that don't want to ask for concessions. There are a lot of realtors that won't work with me because I am very cautious about DPA programs. So it's a mixed bag, but the COVID realtors, just like COVID babies and COVID puppies, it is definitely being felt here.
Yeah. It's too bad the COVID puppies are in the pound, but the realtors are still out in the marketplace, right?
Still in these streets, bitch.
Sorry, I had to take that.
Hey, I love it, man.
I want to throw something out there. I mean, at the end of the day, right, we can look at the pool of realtors. We can look at the amount of transactions, and however we want to look at it, and the number's even less than this, but 80% of the business is done by 20% of the realtors.
80-20.
80-20.
Right. And we can look at those numbers, and we could say they're less or more or whatever, and just to kind of build on this, and then we'll hit into the affordability that you kind of brought up. I had a friend buying a house, going through divorce. House came on the market that was on the market back in May. Offer fell through. Financing fell through. Seller already moved. House hits the market for $425. It was $429. The buyer's agent, I don't know. She's friends with her. Well, Vince, they just came back to the market. They just dropped the price $5,000. Well, yeah, but they also moved out of the house. They also were on the market in May, which is the spring and the summer pricing. So while I don't think the house is worth $425, let's throw an offer in at $400. And the realtor was, well, that's not how this really works, and this and that. And what I'm getting out here is to the buyer, you pay for what you want to pay, what you want to offer. A realtor's there to guide you. We didn't necessarily get the offer, It's just the standpoint of it's your money and it goes into this affordability that we're talking about. And what I mean by that is just, well, you guys didn't read in between the lines, but what she basically said is just because I can get the loan approved does not mean you should make that payment. Right. And that's kind of what I wanted to build on, and why me and Dante kind of talked about this is because it's no one to put pressure on you. We're here to inform you, give you the information, guide you through the process, and where that goes, it goes. Like I said, if we can make the payment work in the system, it doesn't mean that that's the payment you're going to stick with. And when it comes to the DPAs, they're great. But at the end of the day, there's other ways of doing it than taking a down payment assistance program. The DPAs sometimes leave you with no reserves, and that creates a problem.
That's true. I mean, obviously, DPAs, Jess, let's touch on them. Why are you not a fan of down payment assistance?
Okay, so all DPAs are not created equal. There are a couple good ones out there, but for the most part, these down payment assistance, essentially loans, are creating more debt. So, for instance, here in Detroit, one of the popular ones is a $25,000 DPA. It also has there's an option for a $10,000 DPA, and that is through the state, MSHDA. Well, what most people don't realize is that they don't realize it because it's not being explained to them by their realtors or by their loan officers. I've explained it to people and they've walked away from me. Those people are now in foreclosure. What is happening is they're stuck in these high interest rates for 5 to 10 years because they're stuck in that DPA. And if they move, if they turn it into an investment property, if they decide to refinance, they have to pay that back. They're not understanding that they are taking on more debt than just the original mortgage. And then we've got some lenders out here with some, they've got some DPAs that will help you get into the house, which is all fine and dandy, but then you're stuck in it for 10 years. You've got this second mortgage. Sometimes you've got a third mortgage. I've seen lenders do a second and a bridge. That's insane. That's pre-2008 madness. So, for instance, here in the city of Detroit, our inventory has increased, but it has only increased because there are so many people losing their homes and going into foreclosure because they could not afford a home in the first place. We just figured out a way to make the numbers work. So as soon as taxes shot up, right? So we all know the story of Detroit. We all see us, we're coming back up in the world, right? Detroit is booming, but that also means that taxes are going up. Taxes have priced people out of their homes like that. Last week when rates were good, week before that, I called about 30 of my past clients with interest rates that I knew, hey, let's bring those down. 6 of them were not in foreclosure. That's insane.
Yeah. No, that is. A couple things that you said that makes me think most down payment assistance programs have a second mortgage, to your point. And so that second mortgage, it usually has that, read the thin, the small print that it says that you have to either, if you refinance or you sell the property within a 5 to 10 year time frame, you have to pay it back. Or there's another provision there where, hey, you don't have to pay us back, but you're going to be paying a monthly payment on the down payment assistance. So it's like, what would have been better if maybe you just paused, waited, save some money, put that $50 and make sure that you get your 3.5% before you move forward. So there is an issue with, you have to automate your savings for down payment. Automating your savings is critical because you can come up with the money yourself instead of, having this kind of illusion of money that you don't have. And now you have these strings attached. So even if, Vince or Jess or myself wants to refinance you for a better deal, sometimes you can't do that because there's not enough equity, especially if we're going to see softening of prices.
And don't get me wrong, I am not an all around down payment assistance hater. there are a couple programs out there that are immediately forgivable, meaning you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to wait a certain amount of time. Now, if it's an FHA loan, yeah, you got to play by FHA rules, wait the 6 months. But outside of that, you don't have to wait to refinance. Outside of that one rule, you don't have to worry about paying back this 3.5%. And I also think there's a huge difference between someone getting assistance of 3.5% than there is from $25,000. If you have to be given $25,000, you can't afford a home right now. That's just the way it is. And Vince, you're absolutely right. It makes assets that aren't there look like they are. Those reserves not being there are a big deal. People always ask me, well, Jess, why do they want to see that I have money in the bank? Because if you lose your job, the lender needs to know that you can pay your mortgage for the next 3 months, or you can pay your mortgage for the next 6 months. You should want to know that you can pay your mortgage for the next 6 months. Buying a home is such an emotional thing, and people rush into it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of professionals in the industry that stoke that fire of emotion, right? People buy based on emotion, they justify with logic. The logic isn't always right.
I mean, at the end, go ahead, Vince.
No, shoot, go ahead. You go ahead, and I'll go next.
No, I mean, it's the keeping up with the Joneses. It's the I want to, my neighbor did it, I can do it. It's all that kind of comes into play where, I want to be, I don't want to be left behind. And the American dream of owning a house is a part of the American dream, and so, you have that staple that's been, just a part of American culture, American society for, probably the last 70 some odd years. You're looking for any way to get it. Now, the reality is, where what I'm hearing is like, the banks are not your friend. You know what I mean? They are here. They're in business to make a profit. And so profits that they make is based on, obviously the interest that accrues over time. But you have to have a game plan. You have to have a strategy of everything that you do and moves that you make, how to get yourself in, and as well as how do you get yourself out of things. And strategizing with customers, I believe that's where, people with experience and people that actually experiences more than years in the industry, it's based on transactions as well. The more transactions that you're involved with, the more creativity, more solution oriented that you can be. So, from an audience perspective, I encourage you to always, when you're working with different loan officers, it's not about, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this for 20 years. How many deals are you closing? How much do you know? Because that's going to really differentiate, loan officer to loan officer based on the transactions, because those are all different experiences that people possess. Go ahead, Vince.
So a couple of things on the DPA. We threw a dollar amount out of 25 grand. We had something similar, I think, float around this summer in Chicago based on household income and so forth and so on. I didn't do any of those transactions, but some of the people that I do know that ran through them, they came back with like there were no caps to the realtor fees and different things, like nothing in the program reduces to what the realtor was able to make. Do you guys see what I'm kind of talking about? Like, hey, there's a $25,000 grant here. I'm buying a $150,000 house or a $200,000 house, and the realtor's charging 10 grand of the $25,000, right? Instead of the typical 2.5, right? I didn't see anything in the Chicago one when I reviewed it that showed any caps to what realtor commissions could be. I don't know if Jess saw that maybe in what she saw in the Detroit area.
So actually, I haven't at all. And I talk to a lot of realtors weekly about this, just trying to get them to understand, like, make an ethical decision. And I haven't heard anything about it. Actually, you know what? There are more realtors cutting their comp lately than I have ever seen, because they're just trying to get the deal done, which once again, it's a fear of negotiation.
Sure. The other thing I want to touch on the DPA is the banks have what's called the CRAs, right? They're looking to do these programs. And to Dante's point, it locks you into being their client.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying a higher amount. It's not substantially higher, but it's higher. And they have you locked in for X amount of years because you're holding the second, and their job is to collect payments and make interest. So it kind of locks you into that particular servicer.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not to downplay realtors. Obviously, they play a very important role. I have a lot of relationships with realtors, but I will say, there are quite a few realtors that really don't understand the lending side of things. They really don't understand it. Their objective is to try to get a deal done and accomplished. And so they find a buyer, and all they think of is, hey, I want to get them to the table, and I want with less money, right? Because the two questions that most first-time home buyers are going to ask are, what's my payment, and how much money do I need to have?
Correct.
And so the realtor wants to eliminate one of those questions. She can't tell you what the payment is. She has no idea what the rates are, but she can try to eliminate, your cash to close. And so they seek out these programs. But I always push back on them. Do you know if this is the best program for them? The right family today close and they don't have any second mortgage. They don't have any second mortgage. And obviously in a declining interest rate market that we're in right now, lender credits that we do possess is a major impact where, hey, how about I help you get to the end of the table? Because, down payment assistance, all this jazz and all this, it's just noise to say, hey, we want to reduce how much money you have to bring to the table. But how about, hey, this is what you have to show me in your account, and this is what you're actually going to bring to the account are going to be two different things. But I'm going to show you a way where I can get you to the table, and we don't have to use second mortgages and all this type of stuff. And I think that's what we have to almost battle, because we're not singing in unison. Realtors have an objective, and here's our objective. And sometimes we're the better stewards for the consumer, because we're trying to do what's best for you, because we can restructure the loan and help you refinance $200. I was looking at just a chart today of people that could save money just because of where the rates are. And I was like, oh, I can call this person. So I want to make sure they have a good relationship. But hey, I did you right the first time. I didn't just stick you with a product because, this is going to make it easier for you. No, this is going to be the long-term solution. So yeah, I'm all in favor of down payment assistance without a second mortgage. Whether it's, Jess is talking about Detroit. In Illinois, we have the 𝐈 program. These all have second mortgages. These are all complicated deals, and they're not really expressed and explained properly. And most consumers have no clue of what they're taking on. And then all of a sudden they want to refinance because, I heard the rates are going to drop. I want to take advantage. No, you can't. You can't touch this lower rate now. You got to wait 5 years, or you got to pay this thing off. Well, I ain't got no money to pay that off. Well, that wasn't the right program for you to do. So that's why I encourage people to be smarter consumers, understand what's here, understand what's going on. But we have to get on unison with these realtors, because these realtors are just not really, they have an objective. Hey, we want to get you to closing and reduce how much money you bring to the table.
Yeah, the seller credit in this market, as we've already said, we're going to be in a declining rate market going into 2026. Here's the risk, right? We can bump up the interest rate. So yes, you're going to pay a higher interest rate and you're going to get a credit back. The credit, let's say, for example, you're on a $300,000 loan and we give you the highest rate possible in the market. You might not like the sound of that rate, but that payment is still going to be cheaper because you're going to take the highest credit you get. And let's assume you get a 2% credit. Now you're talking about getting $6,000 towards your incidentals. And the anticipation is rates are going to come down in the next 12 months. Let's just say that. They're going to be lower than what they are today then. But now you just took $6,000 and divide that by 12. You just saved yourself $250 a month. My math may be a little off here, right? Or you saved yourself $500 if we're able to refinance you after the seventh payment is made. So there's ways of structuring it that it may be a higher payment today, but I have the credits. I've avoided the second mortgage. and I'm sitting here now just waiting for rates to come down. So just another way of kind of looking at it.
The long game. And that's the hard part to get people to see. Whether you write it down, make a flow chart, like it just, that emotional blindness is there. But you're right, Vince, that's the whole point. Like the long game. I try to explain to my borrowers, like, hey, I want to be your mortgage consultant for life. This way you don't have to go explain your story to 6 other people over the years. Like, let's just stick together and do this the right way and accomplish your goals. And then Dante, back to what you said, is picking the right person, not just the amount of deals and scenarios, but the level of integrity. Like, I wish that more people would interview essentially their realtors and their loan officers to see what kind of people they are.
You're talking about China. We're going to have that social grading system. And so then, I mean, because some of that I agree with, because I've been in some interviews and I'm like, I always believe I'm the best candidate, but then I'm like, dang, you didn't choose me. I'm still here. 23 years, I'm still here and kicking. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I do believe we're such a necessary evil. And I always say that 20% of the market doesn't need us, right? They have cash. Mainly if you look over the last 50 years, it's flowed somewhere between 20, I would, if you want to get technical, 17 to 30%. I just always use the term 20%, but 17 to 30% of the marketplace is cash. They just pay everything with cash, or they sell their house and pay cash for it. So that's kind of how the market works. And
that's because they haven't talked to you to realize that they should take a little bit of a mortgage out of the deal.
There
right?
you go.
Let's throw a little sales of this chip in
there.
Here, right?
You go. Yes. They want to use their money. They don't want to use other people's money. They missed that whole song back in the 80s, OPM. So, it's one of those situations. And then this other faction of people need us. They need lending. They see a house for $300,000. They don't have $300,000 in cash. And so now it's a situation of, okay, I need $300,000. I have to go get a loan. And that's what a mortgage is, and it's just earmarked for residential or commercial, lending. And so needing to get this loan, they don't do the interview. They either just go to their bank, right? Because, my checking and savings account is with Bank of America, Chase, or whatever. And they just I'll just go there. And they assume, and even this year, it's been so like eye-opening. Like, I had a customer, he's been with Chase for, 25 years. He got his mortgage through Chase. He's refinanced a couple times with Chase, and he needed to do a refinance this year. He needed the money. It was a need situation. And he went up to them and they told him no. And he was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know what? Your numbers, it was never you, sir. It was just the numbers that you had. Your credentials were acceptable for them. And now all of a sudden your credentials are not acceptable. And he was like devastated, just like, and he didn't know what to do, and luckily, the powers that be said, hey, call Dante. And then, all of a sudden calls me, we work it out, and then we get him the cash that he needs. But it's crazy that, some people have that mindset, just go to my bank. And instead of like, no, look around or make sure. And even realtors, sometimes I say for realtors, you should have a bank relationship. You should also have a mortgage bank relationship and have a broker relationship. You should almost have 3 different loan officers that are in your stable. And depending on the situation, depending on the conversation, depending on the personality, you should introduce them to that particular person. It surprises me how they will just, me and Chuck, and I'm going to send Chuck at all the deals. And it's like, well, Chuck's only a bank. There's only so much he can do. Or he's a mortgage banker, but he doesn't have experience in this side of the world. He doesn't have experience in alternative income programs. He doesn't have experience in non-QM. He doesn't have an experience in renovation loans. It's crazy to me how sometimes the horse blinders are on, and this is all they can see is just one track.
Well, then again, right, the whole thing of that is most of the traditional business is just buying and trading houses, not refinancing or doing fix and flips and everything else that go with it, right? That also takes a special agent too, that's understanding what's involved in that too, right?
Sure.
So there's two sides of that. I know we're going to hit our half hour mark here. Not sure how you want to address the affordability. For me, just want to throw this out there. If you're waiting to get a down payment or you're waiting to save, and it means I'm waiting because I want to go conventional and I don't want to go buy FHA, you might as well make the decision. Don't let the programs stop you from buying what you want to go buy. So what I'm saying here is FHA is first, conventional second. Don't get in the house. Get in the house at the right time. It's not about the down payment. It's not about the savings. It's about the timing of what it is. Can I do this? Can I safely make my mortgage payment? Let you kick off. Go where you're going.
Well, I'll give my tips, and then Jess, if you have tips, then we'll speak on them. So, I mean, basically, automate savings for down payment. I think it's important to start saving. You should have some money, whether you use the money or not in the, as far as the closing goes, that could be irrelevant based on the structure of the deal. But saving money is good because I'd rather, have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So today, my customers didn't have to bring any money to closing. So they have all this money that they have saved up and compiled. And now that's their nest egg. Now that's a cash reserve. So that's a feel good. Talk to lenders, as well as, mortgage brokers. Make sure you meet a mortgage broker. Someone needs to be in your stable, whether you're a realtor out there listening to this, whether you're a client, a customer, that potentially is looking to buy. You need to have a mortgage broker as someone that you interview and get to know, and we'd like to be one of them for you. I think that's so important. I think energy efficient homes is something that, we would consider. We don't do a lot of that in the Midwest area per se, but, energy efficient is very critical because one thing that has kind of changed when we talk about affordability, we're actually now thinking about, like Jess brought up earlier, real estate taxes, homeowners insurance. We've seen spikes in these type of areas that have impacted the overall mortgage payment, and that's made it difficult for people to, from an affordability so we need to also look at lowering utility bills, because that would help. I'm always had a conversation this morning, buying with a friend or family member as a co-investor into a property is something to consider, so you can split the costs. Don't put it all out on you. So make sure that you, maybe kind of, it's a cohesive nature. You may want to work together. You may want to partner. I kid. This is 100% joke, but I say, hey, the Me Too movement is over. It's like you can't just do it by yourself. You have to work together. Have a partner. I think that's important. And then explore employer-assisted housing programs. Explore just programs in general that people have out there. I think it's important always, if you can get other people's money, if you can get free money, we have grant opportunities. We have the Evans family closing this afternoon, who's got grant money, so, we can provide grant money. We can provide down payment assistance. There's just different programs out there, and working with someone that is aware of these different things that are out there is always beneficial. Jess, I'll leave it to you.
Just a few points before we get to our comments. So, one, I want people to understand, like, going to your bank, it's great, but it doesn't give you as many options. Mortgage brokers give you more options, and that's what we need, because no mortgage is a one size fits all. It's just never that way. Down payment versus debt. I'm seeing a lot of people save for a down payment and doing really well with being disciplined. And then we look at the report and, well, there's thousands of dollars worth of debt. Their debt that is not monthly, it is now in collections or charged off. It defeats the purpose to save for a down payment if you still have $5,000 in debt that you owe Best Buy and Verizon. Now you have to spend that money that you've worked so hard to save on the debt, which is collected more debt in fees while you were saving because you didn't pay it. So that is that's a tough conversation to have with people. They feel very defeated. But if we have it the right way, they stay on track. and you stay available and encouraging, they come back to you. And lastly, realtors, borrowers, I wish more of them would come to me for some coaching and consulting. Been coaching in this industry for the last 15 years. I offer so many realtors the time to sit down with me and actually learn the industry. I have a friend, shout out to DJ Realty Solutions, Damon Johnson. Damon is one of the best realtors I know because he has done everything in the loan officer position except for being a loan officer. We worked at a lender. He was in every section of the company. He knows all about these mortgages and it gives him an edge. He's one of the biggest realtors in Detroit. It gives him a huge edge. Going through the process, I try to train my realtors on whether it be products or process or how things are ordered, what we look at. And some of them are interested more often than not. They just want to get the deal done. They don't care how the car is built. They just want to drive it. So I just feel like they'd have an easier time. We'd have an easier time. Borrowers would have an easier time if we could teach these things to our realtors and our buyers. As a trainer in this industry, I make my borrowers essentially go through a class. I train them the same way I train my loan officers and my account executives. And at the end of the process, they are very thankful for it because they feel like they actually knew what was going on. So
that's awesome.
All of that to say, don't turn down the coaching, don't turn down the training, especially if you have someone that is willing to take the time to do it.
Well said.
First day on the podcast, and she already got the message across. Brokers are better.
Brokers are better.
All right, let's do our housekeeping notes, and then we'll do a little Q&A for the audience. Audience, if you have questions, if you have comments, please put them in the chat. We are going to get to them just shortly. Appreciate you for listening today. I mean, right now we got about 517 people listening to the show. I mean, I can't thank you enough. I mean, this is for you. Always remember, this is for you. We're here to answer questions. So if you have any scenarios or any comments, please put it in the chat and we'll get to you shortly. But this episode today is sponsored by Epic Mortgage. Whether you're buying, investing, or refinancing, call Epic today at 708-905-5300, 708-905-5300. It's your dreams, your goals. Let's plan together. Now, if you are looking for a blueprint, a step-by-step playbook for turning your mortgage into a wealth-building machine, my book is out on Amazon, The Ultimate Mortgage Guide. You can check it out. You know, that'll give you a play-by-play setup on just products and programs that are available to you. So check out The Ultimate Mortgage Guide. It's on Amazon. After the show is over, I'd love for you to go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, Epic Spotlight. I want you to go ahead and check out the most recent Epic Spotlight interview. It's Shawanda Hudson. She's a licensed clinical professional counselor, and she's the author of Sipping Your Own Tea. Discover powerful insights on overcoming trauma, breaking mental health stigmas, and the real truth about therapy. Shawanda shares her journey from accounting to mental health advocacy, practical self-care tips, and how to find the right therapist for you. Whether you're struggling, supporting someone, or just curious about mental wellness, this episode is packed with actionable advice and hope. Unlocking healing, trauma, therapy, and self-care secrets with Shawanda Hudson. So check that out right on the YouTube channel, right when we're done. The Shawanda Hudson Epic Spotlight interview is our most recent one. And we have our preferred listings for the week. We have 12673 Simbay Court, Jacksonville, Florida, going for $374,990. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath. Contact Charday Nix, 904-520-8041. We have 16029 Circle Drive, Markham, Illinois, going for $109,900. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. Contact Keith Terry, 773-655-1360. We have 412 North Ridgeland Avenue, Elmhurst, Illinois, going for $410,000. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. Contact Laretha Lowry, 708-670-8165. We have 548 East 50th Street, Unit 3, Chicago, going for $269,900. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath condo. Contact Jessica Roberson, 708-518-8120. And we have 2030 East 72nd Place, Unit 3D, going for $109,000. It's a condo. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. Contact Evelyn Wood, 773-718-9742. All the Preferred listings are available on www.danteroyster.com. DanteRoyster.com. You can check out all of our preferred listings. And let's get to these comments.
Yeah, you got one more thing to plug.
What else?
Did you start no Facebook group thing that we talked about? Or was I misunderstanding?
You got to refresh my memory.
Over the weekend, the chat, the member group.
Oh, no, that was just a group that we're in. I just plugged our information. So if
I thought we were going to think about doing one for the show.
Oh, is that what you were saying? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Well, okay. Maybe we'll do that as a tease, and we'll talk about it next month.
Yeah, maybe next month.
Let's hit the questions.
All right, let's go with questions. Incredible insights on home affordability, so timely. Thank you, Olivia. Appreciate you listening today. Let's see. How do first-time buyers choose from between FHA and conventional loans? Who wants to answer that?
Jess, you want to go first?
Actually, I was going to let you go because you brought up that topic.
Perfect. That's the way I was going to go with it. So I did kind of try and bring that to the conversation there before we went through everything. So let's just kind of break things down. If you have a credit score of 620, you are an FHA borrower. If you have a credit score of between 680 and 700, you could start thinking about conventional, but you're still an FHA borrower. I say that for the reason of this. I'm never a fan of putting money down on homes, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, because you don't know what the added expenses are going to be, the emergencies that come up. I'm a big advocate of keeping my cash, paying the higher payment, and FHA, the mortgage insurance payment, is the same factor regardless of credit score, where conventional has different MI rates. Now, if you're taking profit from an existing home, you may consider going conventional over FHA and putting money down. But to me, the first-time home buyer is FHA, regardless of credit scores, unless you're sitting at 740 and going to put a 20% down. Mortgage insurance will always be there on FHA. Unless you put 10% down, it will go away in 10 years, and it may be 11. With that being said, we'll go to the next question and have Dante throw some comments in there.
We're on the same page. I think it's 5% down FHA. The PMI will drop off after 11 years. I thought it was 10% down. No, but everything else is on point, and I'm with you on that. That's how I kind of I move. That 700 mark is when it's 100% conventional, but sub 700, I always lean more FHA unless you want to put the money down, which in our world would be more common because when we talk about affordability in the Chicagoland area would be townhomes and condos. So then it kind of pushes us in a realm where we have to go conventional. Most times, townhomes can be FHA, but the problem that we face in Chicagoland area a little bit in Michigan, is that we have a lot of listing agents that will promote a property like, look at this beautiful townhome. And then when we do the research, it's actually a condo. And then we find out it's not FHA approved. And we're back to the conventional world. So
I'm glad you hit on that, because
yes,
townhouses don't have an FHA approval process. So if you think it's a townhouse and it's a condo, the most important thing to do is get the legal description and let's sit down and let's go through it. Because it'll tell you.
No doubt. All right, let's go to the next one here. Damien, are there any programs specifically for self-employed buyers?
Ooh.
You want to go, Jess?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, Damien, specifically for self-employed buyers, I'm going to say these programs will cater to you. Absolutely. There are a ton of them out there. Whether it be bank statement. It depends on if you're doing primary or investment, but you can go bank statement. You can go DSCR, asset utilization, 1099 for only 1 year. You can go full doc. You can mix and mingle your personal and business accounts. There are a few out there for our I-10 and foreign national borrowers. Those are a little rough right now with our political climate, but they are out there. And then also utilizing things like buydowns. I don't see a lot of buydowns being utilized, the 2-1 buydowns, but they're very helpful for not just self-employed people, but for anybody. But the point is, Damien, you've got a ton of options out there as a self-employed person. I will tell you the one thing that I tell all of my self-employed borrowers is we as business owners love to write everything off. When you're planning on getting a mortgage, you have to show some income. We can't show those big losses. You got to show that the business made some money, at least for 2 years, but more often now you can go 1 year.
Awesome. We kind of created something. We might have to trademark it, but we talk about our alternative income programs, and that's basically what you were saying with alternative programs. And it just reminded me, I had a client last month who is a teacher, and she has a logistics trucking company on the side, and so we were able to commingle. Hey, I got this side business, and I'm going to prove it with bank statements. And then I have my W-2 job that's salaried, and we were able to combine those two incomes to qualify. And we avoided tax returns because they run favorably. So, I mean, the alternative income programs are really a great thing. The only drawback is, if you consider a drawback, is that obviously you'll have to put more money down. Right. So your 3.5s, your 5%, that's, long gone. There is no down payment assistance conversations. It's just about, hey, if you got the 10 to 20% down, and now we're in business.
I'm glad you hit on the down payment for the alt doc, or however we want to call it today, right? 15 to 20%.
Yep. All day, every day.
Could be business funds too.
Correct. Mm-hmm. All right. Justina. Appreciate you, Justina. Which strategy do you think helps the most with affordability right now? Who wants to tackle that?
I mean, I'm gonna jump on that just to get the conversation started. To me, that's going to be just FHA is going to help you with the affordability, right? We're going to be able to get it through the system at the highest possible debt ratio. It doesn't mean that that's the right thing, as we said earlier. Just because we can get it approved doesn't mean that's what you want to be paying. But FHA gives you that flexibility in an affordability market.
Awesome sauce. Anything you want to add, Jess?
No, I'm right there with Vince. It's simple, make sure you can actually afford it, and then go the right route. And the right route would be FHA.
There's one other thing just before we go to the next question. FHA gives you a security blanket. In the event that property values go down and interest rates go down, you can refinance an FHA mortgage without doing a new appraisal. Yes, you will need some money, but you can do it. So if you do take a DPA and the house does go down in value and you have an opportunity, don't be discouraged.
Awesome. Go back to John. Every episode just keeps getting better. Love the learning vibe. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're trying. Episode 39. So we're trying to get better. Appreciate that.
Just remember, if Dante takes a day off, there is no show.
Thanks. Well, it is starting to get cold. I saw the weather.
I'm just making sure the audience is learning that Vince won't be doing it solo. So it's on.
I saw the weather break. It's going to break on Wednesday. I was like, man, here we go. This is how people get sick. How does
hoodies
house
and
hack-
shorts? Is that what we're getting to?
Yeah, about 60s. I think the high is 62 on Wednesday.
Hoodies and shorts.
How does house hacking actually work in practice? Woo! This is taking it back from a previous episode. We were talking about house hacking, and we actually had the pleasure of having Sharday Nix from Jacksonville, Florida, on with us. So I'll take this. So house hacking is just, as Vince says, it's just roommates. That's all it is. But from a single family perspective, people are actually renting out rooms. So if you have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house and you're single, or even if you're married or, whatever, cohabiting, you may want to rent out each room that you don't use. And whether it's $400, she told me it's like $400, $1,000, for a room, and you share common areas like the kitchen you'll share, but it's a way to minimize your mortgage payments. So if you have a $2,000 mortgage, but now you're renting out 3 rooms, and let's just say you are renting them out for, $800. Let's just say 800 times 3 is 2,400. Now you're living a rent-free, mortgage-free, as the tenants in your house are living there. Obviously, house hacking in Chicagoland area more commonly is not necessarily room rents. We do see that occasionally, but we see it obviously in 2 flats, 3 flats, 4 flats. We talk about and what we call flats are duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes. We have a lot of we call them flats here, but we're very familiar with those. The concept is to buy a multi-unit first. We, ideally a 3-unit, and then or a 4-unit, because we see more cash flow in the 3 to 4, and then you rent out the rest. You stay there for a year just so you can get your feet wet, know the property, know all the ins and outs, and then you move on and buy something else. You might start off at a 4-unit, and then after a year you could buy the 3-unit, and then after a year you buy the 2-unit, and then you go down to 1. So you're minimizing, from if you get the single family first, and then now you want to buy the multi-unit, that's tough because now you need to have 20% down. But if I buy the 4-unit with 3.5%, and then I buy the 3-unit, or let's say, just to keep it simple, if I buy the multi-unit first, I'm at 3.5%. And then if I buy, let's say a single family next, I'm only 5%. So I have 2 properties and I only had to have, 8.5% down, versus if I would have gone with, obviously the single family first. Now I've put 3.5% and I bought the multi-unit, and now I've put 23.5% down. So you're saving yourself 15% down with the order of business. But house hacking is basically that. It's just having the ability to maximize the opportunity of income coming to you, no matter what type of property that you have.
One thing I want to add, if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, when we're house hacking, and it's a great idea, all that's good. When you get above the 2 units, you need to pass the self-efficiency test. So the down payment's great that you can get away with the 5%, meaning the 5 for one and the 3.5 for the other. But remember, if it's truly a 4-unit or a 3-unit, you have to pass the self-sufficiency test. And we'll get into that probably in a different episode, but I just want to put that out there.
No, I appreciate that. Jess, anything on that one?
No, I think you guys covered it. Actually, the only other thing is accessory dwelling units, ADUs. What a lot of people don't realize is that they can use a FHA 203K or one of the conventional construction products, rehab products, to build on an accessory dwelling unit. That way you don't necessarily have to have these people living in the home. It's like building a mother-in-law suite. You can put a lease on those and count the income.
Awesome. I think that's good. And then the next one here, we have another Jeff. Thank you for listening. What's one mistake buyers make when trying to lower payments?
Ooh.
You must be talking about refinancing.
Just one? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little story because I'm still disgusted about it. Last week, called a borrower to refinance. She said, Jess, already refinanced. Okay, I feel betrayed, but let's talk about it. And long story short, this loan officer talked her into paying $12,000 in points to lower her payment by $24 a month. So what I did was I said, okay, well, let's get on Zoom because I need to show you something. And normally my clients know if I tell you to get on Zoom so you can look at something, it's bad news bears. And I showed her an amortization.
Hey, wait, hold on. Bad news what?
Bad news bears.
Hold on here. This is a Bears show over there in Detroit with them Lions. Wait a minute. No, God, sorry.
Yeah, so we looked over amortization schedule, and I had her break out her LE and CD, and she knew how to read them because I had taught her previously with the purchase. But once she put it all together, she realized that she made a big mistake. Big mistake. And how much more she could have saved and not paid $12,000. So one mistake is just not fully looking at the numbers. That huge. And if you don't know what you're looking at, feel free to get a second opinion. Make sure the maths.
I think that's something you talked about earlier in the show. When I'm thinking about it, is just working with people that have morals and integrity and ethics, and not just being enslaved to just the numbers, And it's like, hey, I'm going to do right by you, and you have to kind of just believe that train that my intentions are to do right by you, and that's it. My intentions are not to, sway you or I got you with a higher interest rate than necessary. I mean, so, people have to kind of know that mantra and trust the process. Trust the process is really key. Because, if you just are enslaved to a rate and then you're going to work with this, probably work with 20 different loan officers. And you don't know what everyone's intentions are. I mean, obviously there has to be a reason and what makes sense. But we deal with that all the time. I have a long-standing client, and he was looking to get some money. I figured out a way to do it, and I went a certain direction. And then now, his partner is suggesting maybe we should shop around. And I said, well, yeah, it might be but it's a small denomination. I mean, we're squabbling over $40, really? I mean,
right.
I just went with the quickest way to get it done. But if we're going to have to, really sharpen my pencil. But sometimes you don't always win, and certain situations do occur, so we do understand that. It's frustrating though.
You brought up a good point. Go ahead, Vince.
So there's something called a net tangible benefit. So I don't know how that loan passed that test, and obviously we're not going to get into that. Let's set to the audience, if you are looking at refinancing, whether that's 6 months from now or a year from now, if you're paying more than what your mortgage payment is in fees, it's probably not worth refinancing.
Great. That's a great measurement. That's an absolutely great measurement.
And the third thing, if you're worried about $40 and you're having a conversation with any one of the loan officers and you think you can trust that person, ask them. We always have room to do something a little bit less. If you're truly going to give us the business, don't leave over $40 if you trust your loan officer. Have the conversation. Bring it up. Ask the question.
It's communication. And, at the end of the day, in my scenario, I viewed it as he needed the money fast. And so I provided a fast way to get the money.
Sure.
And instead of, yes, I want it fast, but relatively fast because I still want the lowest payment possible.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Hey, I need the money, Dante. Let's do a DSCR loan. Let's get it going. Now, all of a sudden, you could have told me a bank statement. Well, you said fast and you said quick, right?
Correct.
So don't go shopping me after I present you with an option and go talk to the guy around the corner and give him half of the story and only tell him what you want to tell him.
Happens all the time, unfortunately, way too much. Yeah. And it's annoying.
Secondary goals are very important, and they just need to be upfront with this. Don't hide things from your loan officer. They can't help you. We can't help you if we don't know the whole story.
Correct. Not a mind reader.
Tell me the truth so I can lie for you. We're kind of like an attorney.
Thanks for sharing these nuggets live. Appreciate you, Jack. Thanks for listening today. Will, Jess, and Vincent really broke it down perfectly. Thank you. Yes, you guys are excellent. Love
Good job, Jess. You got the assignment. Just don't talk about Bad News Bears ever again.
Yeah. My goodness.
Can I leave off with one thing, Dante? You said something that really resonated with me. We were talking about, I talked about ethics and you talked about intent. And one thing that borrowers and realtors, need to know is that we all have access to the same products. We all have access to pretty much the same pricing. It literally comes down to the human, their knowledge and their ethics. And that's really what people need to understand. We can all touch the same products. We can all do the same things. It comes down to the person.
Yeah, so true. So very true.
Do business with people you know, like, and trust.
All right. I think this is the last question. One, how long does it take to get approved for these special programs? Great
question. How long do you want it to take?
Right. As fast as your loan officer moves, as fast as you move with documents and information. So not long at all.
I mean, the biggest thing to that is when you're buying a home, if you feel like it's rushed, take a step back, right? Because we can go a lot faster than you want as a consumer. And it can make you sometimes uncomfortable.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Dante knows I try to close loans in like a very short amount of time. Like I can close loans in 12 days, and that can make people uncomfortable. So I gauge my clients, and sometimes I stretch it out. Don't need to, but it just makes them feel better. Because you're right, Vince. Sometimes we can move faster than what they're comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, again, on the purchase market, it's a little different because we have to depend on other people, and sometimes things don't start getting wrapped up until it's closer to the date. But yeah, we can move that fast, but everybody needs to be on the same page, meaning inspections, appraisals, so forth and so on. On the refi market, we can do that all day long, 2 to 3 weeks. On a purchase market, we can still do it. It just makes it a little tough because everyone has to be involved.
Yeah, I mean, so James, to answer your question, special programs don't mean special time. The times are still, always my goal is to close within 30 days. I've always kind of had that benchmark. It is what it is. It hasn't changed. I always like to be done within 30 days. So I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that we're there. The quicker that we can get things done, appraisals ordered, documents e-signed, everything moving forward, we can definitely close deals, like Jess said, within 12 days, 14 days, 21 days. But we'd like to, be done within 30 days if everyone's moving in the right direction.
And if you're a seller out there and it's taking more than 40 to 45 days to get your property sold, just as a general information, there's probably something wrong. Ask questions. Don't continue to do extension. It's an extension over another extension and another extension. Something's up.
Well, they say doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different
result,
course of action. Yeah. Definition of insanity. Yep. Insanity. There we go. Well, we did it. We made it. And Damien just wrote, this kind of content helps so many people. Thank you all. No, thank you, Damien, for listening. Make sure you like and share this with others. The taping of this is available, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube. So, definitely share this with others. We'd love to have you back and listening to us. We'll be back tomorrow with a new topic. And we're just trying to make sure we're doing things that are going to helpful, or that are helpful for you. So if you have a scenario, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to invest, if you're looking to refinance, we hope that we'd be one of the people that you would consider. So let's just go around real quickly and pass out our contact info. Miss Jess Ford.
Okay, Jess Ford, phone number 313-673-6108. Give me a call or shoot me a text. You can find me on all social media. I would suggest going to my Instagram, which is jford_consulting. And my link tree will take you to everything Jess Ford, including, Dante, I have to plug this, including my TED Talk about being a good person. It's 12 minutes, but it's great. Check it out.
I love it. I love it. TED Talk. And I actually saw it. So I can say it was good. It was good. I was impressed. Vince, how do they reach you?
I'll have to check that out. Obviously, phone number 708-359-8578. I'm here 12 to 1, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 12 to 1 Central. I will have tomorrow off. It'll be Dante and whoever. And you can always email me at vince@epic.mortgage.
I will be with a special guest. I haven't looked at the calendar to see who's going to be with me, but someone's going to be with me tomorrow, hopefully. But appreciate that. I will send out the reminders and notices. So appreciate everybody. Everyone have a great day. It's a Monday, so we're getting back in the swing of things. Guys, take care.
Everyone have a good afternoon. Thanks, Jess. Bye.